Subscribe. You. Watch this video to the end and get $1. My name is Diego Alvarez. I was born in a place most people call paradise. Postcard beaches, hills wrapped in green like giant sleeping beasts, the smell of salt carried by warm winds. But for me, it was not paradise. It was a starting line, and I didn't even have shoes. When you grow up with nothing, the street teaches you. It teaches faster and harsher than any classroom. I was 10 when I started selling candies, a wooden box hanging from my neck by a rope so worn it scratched my skin raw. The sun pressing down on me like a weight, shadows short, air heavy. Even the stray dogs looked tired. You learn to smile, even when your stomach screams, to keep walking when 100 people wave you away, and to spot the one face that might buy. One day, I tripped over a broken cobblestone. The box slammed to the ground, candies scattered into the gutter, sugar melting into warm, dirty water. I remember my knees shaking. I remember the laughter of some older boys across the street. And then, that quiet, sharp thought in my head. Diego, nobody's coming to help you. So I crouched down, picked up the candies I could still sell, kept walking. That day, I sold out. Not because I had the best candy, but because I refused to stop. Fast forward 18 years. I was 28. I'd left the street, but the street had not left me. I worked in a small workshop fixing wooden furniture for hotels. Tables, chairs, bed frames, things nobody noticed until they broke. My hands were rough and cracked. Sawdust lived under my nails. The smell of varnish clung to my clothes, but my pay barely covered rent. That's when I saw it. The wall. Not made of bricks, but of rules, permits, hidden fees, and polite rejections. Every time I tried to start something on my own, the wall stood there, higher than before. One night, a friend told me a hotel needed 100 new tables, too big a job for our boss. He refused. But my mind started running. The next morning, I walked into that hotel. The lobby smelled of polished marble and lemon-scented cleaner. The manager, a tall woman in a navy suit, studied me from behind her desk. "Can you deliver in 4 weeks?" she asked. "Yes," I said, without hesitation. My bank account whispered, "Are you insane?" That night, I sat at my kitchen table, a single bulb buzzing overhead, pen in hand, contract in front of me. When I signed my name, it felt like stepping off a cliff. A warm gust of wind slipped in through the window. Somewhere outside, a rooster crowed. Life went on, but for me, I had just thrown my first stone at the wall. To make those tables, I needed wood. Not just any wood, strong, clean, cut true. The local market had scraps, so I went to the port. The air there was thick with salt and diesel. Seagulls screamed overhead. Metal groaned as cargo was lifted by cranes the size of apartment buildings. I filled out forms until my wrist ached. Each clerk sent me to another desk. One man looked at my order and chuckled. "Big job for a small man," he said. I didn't leave. By sunset, my shipment was scheduled. At home, I emptied my savings onto the table. Bills folded, coins scattered. Not enough, not even close. And in the back of my mind, the wall laughed. 2 days later, I delivered a repaired chair to a small cafe. The smell of strong coffee hit me as soon as I opened the door. At the window sat an older man. White linen shirt, silver hair combed back, skin like worn leather, eyes sharp as broken glass. "You made this?" he asked, pointing to the chair. "Repaired it," I replied. He smiled faintly. repairs tell more about a man than the things he builds. His name was Ernesto. Once, he owned half the bus routes in our town. Now, he invested in people. "Why me?" I asked. "Because I see the same hunger I had. And hunger, son, is the only thing you can't fake." The next morning, he handed me a brown envelope. Inside, enough to buy the wood, enough to hire help, for the first time. I felt the wall crack. We worked like machines. Days melted into nights. The workshop smelled of sawdust, sweat, and ambition. The radio played salsa, but nobody danced. We had no time. I sanded each tabletop until it was smooth as river stone. The skin on my palms tore. Blood marked the wood. But I kept going. 4 weeks later, the tables were ready. We loaded the truck before dawn. The road to the city was a ribbon of asphalt stitched with potholes. Each bump made the cargo shift, and my stomach turn. The city skyline rose like steel teeth. Glass towers caught the morning sun, the smell of fresh coffee mixed with car exhaust. We unloaded at the hotel dock. The manager inspected each table. Her fingers glided over the wood, searching for flaws. She looked up at me. No smile, no frown. Then, "These will do." She signed the papers, and with that, the exclusive contract was mine. Years later, people called it luck. You were in the right place at the right time. But I know the truth. It was every candy I sold under the blazing sun, every form I filled at the port, every sleepless night, staring at the wall, wondering if it would break or if I would. And maybe it was Ernesto. In business, they talk about margins, returns, capital, but no spreadsheet can measure the value of someone who believes in you. That's the real climb. You are the best. Here it is, $1.